everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Connie. I grew up in the mountains in Toll House, California. It's behind Fresno. And when I went to church, we talked about how much God loves us, and I learned about how to transform myself to show the world that I loved God. And when I would get in trouble, my mom would make us read Bible verses or Bible chapters, and I did that a lot because I was a little bit of a free spirit. So I read the Bible a lot, and I read the New Testament. That's what resonated with me. I didn't like the darkness of the Old Testament, so I read the New Testament and learned about what kind of person I needed to be to show God and to show God that I loved Him, and how I would be identified in the world by that love. As I got older, what I realized is that not everybody sees His relationship to us the same way. What I've realized is that there's a lot of people in this world that think that all their sins are forgiven, no matter what they do, because they believe in God. It doesn't matter how they treat people, they're forgiven. They believe in God, period. They have no accountability, no responsibility, no judgment. They can do what they want, period. That's wrong. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's totally wrong. Our first responsibility is to ourselves. If we cannot be honest with ourselves about how we treat people, we're never going to make it in this world. We're never going to change it. This world will be forever doomed if we don't start transforming inside. When we can face our demon, face our own truth, face our own devil, only then can God come in and help us transform the rest. The first thing we have to do, though, is not care what everybody else thinks about us. I put a YouTube short on YouTube last night, bawling my eyes out, because I don't care how people see me anymore. I don't care whether people want to think that I'm crazy for thinking the way that I do. I don't. I know what works for me, and what works for me is what God tells me to do. I can't argue with God. What if we were our own Christ? What if every one of us was Christ? What would that mean? If every single person was Christ, imagine what this world would look like. Because remember, there is no ego, there is no jealousy, there is no bitterness, there is no callousness, there is no judgment with Christ. Imagine what this world would look like. I think that is what Jesus was trying to tell everybody when He died. That we have a choice in what world we want to live in. Whether we want to live in a world of hate, or whether we want to live in a world full of love. I know that 2026 is supposed to be a huge year, and I truly hope that there is going to be some serious transformation. Hopefully within the church. Religion is something that I don't agree with. I don't think that, to be quite honest with you, I really don't think that anybody should agree with religion. I think religion is the devil, just so to speak. I think that there are forces, just like Jesus said, in this world that want us to doubt, want us to discredit, and want us to judge others. Those are the forces within all of us that we have to overcome if we are going to make a world of difference, or if we're going to change this world. That's what we have to do. We have to start internally. I started doing that a while ago. There's been two major events in my life within the last 10 years. One of them happened to my grandson, and it truly changed who I am. It made me look at life totally different. It made me realize that people can control themselves. It made me realize that people pass blame, don't want accountability, but they don't want judgment either. They want to be perceived as a good person when they do something wrong, and that is who they listen to. They don't listen to the inner voice in them that's telling them, you did a bad thing. That hurts too much. We don't have to sit there, though. When you do something wrong, you have a choice. You have a choice to own it, take accountability for it, and never do it again. That is transformation. When we can own our stuff, when we can own our actions, when we can own our words, and when we can own how we treat other people, we'll see a difference in this world. Until then, I'm going to keep working on me, loving me, and showing the people around me that get to come around me love. I can't stand violence. I can't stand arguing. I can't stand fighting. When what happened to my grandson happened, it made me feel so sick inside. Not for somebody else, but because of what I was feeling. I didn't want to feel like that. So I stopped. I can't. It's not who I am. I'm not a naive person, by no means. I did not graduate high school, but I ended up managing one of the branches for the nation's, one of the mortgage company branches for the nation's #1 home builder. I'm not stupid. I'm not naive. I have certain things that I believe, and God has told me that I'm right. You want to know what the pyramids are about? The pyramids are just there to prove that the universe is conscious. That's it. They didn't figure it out anyways. Why do we care? I think we need to focus on us today instead of what's happened in the past. We need to get past all the bitterness and all the fighting. Because I'll tell you what, if Jesus were to come down right now, we would all be passing the blame to somebody else as to why we acted the way we did. He does not accept passing the buck. Jesus says in the Bible, the road may be wide, but the entry is narrow. And that's not the right context, but people will come to me and say, Lord, Lord, look at all I've done. He'll say, I never knew you. Why? Because that person who may have gone out and done those things in the name of the Lord did it for selfish reasons, or badmouth the person that they were with, or badmouth the person that they did it for, or badmouth somebody else. They didn't learn anything. When are we going to actually learn what it means to be a good person? I've been trying to do that my whole entire life. I've helped friends when they've needed it. I've helped strangers when they've needed it. And it makes me feel good because I can see what it means to them. I've always been sensitive to energy, so I'm empathic. I am psychic, and I'll be honest with you, up until this year, I actually thought that that was going to be demonic. So it was only this year, or 2025, that I realized that Jesus was empathic. Jesus was a psychic. Jesus knew what was going to happen to him. He was psychic. The story of Jesus that we have in the Bible, and that what we've been told throughout history, is not the true story. It's a way for you to feel good about yourself when you do something bad to somebody else. That's all it is. If you want to really know who God is, start looking inside. Call him out. Call out to him and ask him to show you. You may not like what you see, but I'll tell you this. He wants you to see it because he loves you so much. The amount of love that he has for us is so great that he forgives all of our wrongdoing if we turn away from it. But that's the trick. You actually have to turn away from it. And what I end up seeing is a lot of people, they don't want to turn away from it because it makes them isolated. They get shunned, or they get put down, or they're really afraid of what people are going to think of them. I've been like that. I've held my mouth shut on things that I believed when people were talking about things because I didn't want people to call me out and think that I was stupid or crazy. I know I'm not, but I was afraid of what people thought about me. I never went along with anybody who did something wrong to somebody. I think that that is absolutely cowardice, childish, immature. And if anybody goes along with anybody who's doing something bad to somebody else who's never done anything bad to them, then they deserve whatever God gets to them. I do not wish harm upon anybody, but people have wished harm upon me. Why? Because I stand up for myself. I'm not ugly, but I am very direct. I am very honest. I am very truthful. And the one truth people do not like hearing is the truth about themselves. You guys, let's start internally before we start making external judgments about each other, okay? Have a great day.